Good afternoon, everybody, or should I say good evening. It is 7:47 here, East Coast. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's see here. Excuse me, got a little bit of frog in my throat. Just got done eating some dinner with the wifey. Let's see here. Let's turn this down just a tad. All right, so let's get started with our cleanup from the raids and all the stuff that I've been doing all day. So we got some stuff back from insurance. For you guys who are new to the channel, anybody checking this out kind of in the future or otherwise, gonna repeat the mission statement here. The aim of the channel is to be educational. We are going to try to learn something new or kind of pass on something new every single time that we stream and every single time that we play. Whether that's what I should have done better in a fight, what I could have looted better, what we could have, just anything. That's it. So let's go over our kind of goal for today. Probably what I'm thinking of is would preferably like to do some streets. We're starting a little bit later today, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to get too many raids in, but I think the idea is we do some we'll warm up on woods first. I want to kind of get used to this AKS I just built. We'll cover that in a second, but we'll do a woods to kind of get the fingers warmed up, get kind of used to playing, because I haven't really played all day. I've been kind of working. I got a day job, so gotta get that done first, but let's talk about our loadout for today. We're gonna be running this corn. I got this back in insurance. You get these back pretty often. It comes off of, I believe, level 3 proper. Let's see here. Yep, you can get one from level 3 proper. This one's just a barter. A little bit. Can be somewhat of an expensive barter. It kind of depends on your price of diaries. Or you can just straight up buy one for 112 rubles ish, just from max proper. I believe proper's one of the earlier traders that you get trader level 4 with. The therapist is the first one you usually get. We don't include fence because fence does rep weird. Proper is usually the second one that you get max traders with, I believe. I actually, don't quote me on that. It's been a little bit since we got max traders. I'm level 47, I believe now. So it's definitely been a little bit. And I can't 100% remember the order that you get max traders in usually. Kind of like the quote unquote normal way to get max traders. But regardless, we are going to be running this Corund just because I have it. It's a decent level. It's kind of one of the first level 5s that you get. It's heavy. The penalties are a little bit rough. This move speed, it used to be worse, but it's been, I believe this patch, it was significantly reduced in how much move speed penalty it gives, but it's still definitely one of the worst ones from the move speed. Turn speed is whatever. This is not really that big of a deal. Ergonomics, minus 5%. It's a little bit rough depending on what kind of build that you're running, but regardless, it's a decent armor, right? Especially at this point in the wipe, there's no reason not to run this level 5. It also covers your thorax and your stomach. What that means is, your tum-tum or your chest, you take hits in it, hopefully it will block something, right? At the very least, it'll protect you from scavs. Armor steel, it's a little bit, it repairs fairly well. The durability though, you know, 45 durability, it doesn't take many hits to punch, basically zero this out and make it so that way it's going to start operating at a armor class underneath it. But since it's a 5, you know, it takes enough damage, goes down to a 4, then an effective 3, etc., etc. We'll probably get, that probably is very confusing. It kind of is. That's okay. We will hopefully cover that more in depth if somebody wants to discuss it more. I won't get too much into it now. It's a little heavy too. It's just under 10 kilograms. This is a little bit heavier, and it's definitely one of the heavier armors, I believe. And on top of that, you have to wear a rig with it because this is just body armor. It is not an armored tack rig. Armored tack rig, we're just using this alpha rig. I got it back in insurance. I think I ran, you know, it's an okay tack rig. There's sometimes this is just kind of based on whatever you choose to run at the time or whatever you can find. For this particular one, it was insurance, so we pick it up. Bag, we're going with a T30. I normally honestly use troopers. So at this point in the wipe, and honestly at the point in the wipe that you can start getting big bags, one of the kind of things that I learned somewhat early on in the, well, not really, kind of late into this game, and something I just didn't realize was that there's no reason not to run big bags. These are incredibly cost efficient, and they usually you fill any big bag up like a tri-zip or switchblade, a trooper. I like using troopers myself. It's the one that looks like a big cat turd. These T30s, T20s, bigger bags, with some exception. I don't like running the couch bags, the raid bags, the big couch bags that like this one. I don't really like running big couch bags because they're such large profile and there's also some pretty gnarly penalties on them. Just for a bag. But you know, you compare that with a trooper. Trooper is relatively, this thing's hilarious. I think I would not be surprised if they end up nerfing the trooper either in cost or they make it so that way it's butter only. It's just it's so good of a bag, and it's relatively low profile for the amount of space that it carries. But we're gonna run into this T30. I got it back in insurance. That's kind of the reason why we're running it. Gun choice. Or let's go with the compact choice, M32s. I almost always run M32s just because these are cheap from Skier. That you almost always get them back in insurance. You know, I keep like a stockpile of them. You know, as they come back in insurance, I just stick them back in my too much money thick case, and you know we'll just keep rolling it through. AC, you know, ACAHC High Com Striker helmet. It's basically an ULOC without ear protection. You know, it covers your top, covers your nape, pretty high ricochet chance. This is the most important thing. Second most important thing. I'll be completely honest with you. Armor class on helmets, I've bounced rounds using the Shattered Mask. I've bounced rounds using the rat neck helmets that you can get from Prapor. I don't know if I've ever straight up stopped a round with armor class, but the ricochet chance is pretty good on this. I've definitely bounced rounds off of this in the ULOC. At this point in the wipe, there's no reason not to run the AC, at least this striker helmet. If you can, you know, if you kind of want like a cheap shit kit, pretty good helmet to run. I believe I said this yesterday in yesterday's stream, but I'm going to repeat it again. I don't actually know if the ears, if it's, you know, if you're running kind of strapped on cash, you kind of don't have to buy the ear protection that the ULOC provides, just because I don't know if I've ever stopped a bullet through my ear. In fact, I've normally got like, I feel like I've gotten head ears so many times from things shooting from the front of me. I have a suspicion that it was a kind of a meme a while back, but the hit boxes on the PMC ears used to extend outside of the helmet. I don't know if that is still the case, but it's definitely, I definitely feel that sometimes. I have no confirmation. That might just be pure bias, but you know, this should be the kind of the base helmet, right? That you can, especially if you can afford it, pretty cheap off of, you know, let's take a look at Ragman real quick. You know, as you can see, there's your strike, there's your ULOC. at 103k. You can get, you know, the Desert Tan one, or, you know, ACHHC for 66k. It's probably one of the most cost-effective ones. You can also go with a Ratnik, you know, 2 bleaches. But this is the one I like to run. It's also black. FDE in this game, it's kind of weird. So there's a stigma against FDE in that people don't like to run FDE because there's kind of like this weird glow with them. I think it's just because of like the way that the game does reflections and lighting. People claim that you can see this like across the map. On some maps, you know, like woods where pattern recognition, you know, I'll put like colors that kind of pop. You probably don't want to run it. But if you're running a CQB map, like maybe customs, if you're planning on going into close range on reserve, or you're going streets, right? Sure, you know, it's cheap, you know, it's go for it. Some people won't run them and refuse to run them. If you're in CQB, it doesn't really, you know, in my mind, if it's FD or black, it doesn't really matter at when you're so close that you can see the whites of the guy's eyes, right? Quite literally see his eyes. Gas welders, this is more just for drip. There is somewhat of a tactical decision to using them. 45% protection against flashbang. You know, it can matter. In this particular case, again, this is more just for the drip because you look like you look like kind of like Moliere from what is that cartoon, Atlantis. You look like Moliere from Atlantis. So let's see here. Let's go back and look at there we go. So weapon choice, we're gonna go with an AKS again. We're gonna go woods. We're gonna go with this red dot because I want to kind of continue using close range weapons. This is a little bit different than an SMG though. So this is an interesting rifle build. And I've always had a soft spot for 5.45 guns and AKs in general. 5.45 especially. When I first started playing this game, the very first wipe that I played, I just kind of gravitated towards AKs. I really, really liked, first of all, I liked the look of them. I liked the kind of the rugged look of the AKs. And to be honest, when I started playing in 12.12, BP was king. They still had not done all of the buffs to 5.56. They had not done buffs across the board for recoil and made parts, you know, and basically the stats were such that if you were not slinging BP, you were kind of falling behind. You could build out a meta M4, you could build out a meta 308. 308 was also pretty, still is popular, but it was pretty popular in the wipe that I started. But basically, if you were not slinging 308, you were slinging BP, right? BP in close range, 308 long range or close range, SMG otherwise. But even then, SMGs were, you ran MP7s, you ran P90s. But regardless, we're going to be running kind of this interesting AKS build. And this is actually from, I noticed this in a video that Drix did. I was like, man, I'm running AKS in a little bit. And I really like this. This, for whatever reason, this suppressor, I think, just looks really, really cool. Like, it's kind of a strange looking suppressor. The waffle, I think the meta build is really like you run like a waffle suppressor on it. And, that's cool and all, but there's just something about this kind of like, and this looks like a kind of a gun that a KGB or Spetsnaz agent would use, right? I think there's just something kind of cool about it. But it's kind of otherwise it's your pretty standard, AK build. It's, you're going to use the Canter grip, you're going to use this Zena PT lock, you're going to use the AGS. I'm obviously using a Delta point just because we want to stick with the theme of using a kind of a closer range fighting, kind of a abuse aggression, kind of a get on top of them, go burr at them, they die before they can scope in and try to scope you down and shoot you from 75 meters away. Running Salewa, pretty standard heal. You know, it does what you need it to do. It's also cheap. I've been crafting them. Calic B for my heavy bleed. We actually need a splint. And we're also just going to get an army bandage. And I believe my buddy Drix actually just got Kappa. Message him and say congratulations. Anyway, let's get back to this. We're going to be running 3 60 rounders. These are filled with BT. I have so much BT and BS, it really doesn't matter, but I kind of like BT. I kind of like stacking BT first. I say that, and it's probably gotten me killed a couple times, but BT first kind of nice. Most of the time, I don't really... I end up not really having to fight that many PMCs on woods. I say that, and again, we got killed by PMCs yesterday, but we're going to just continue on along this kind of line of thinking. BT's kind of nice. It strikes a good balance between being able to pen level 4 after a couple of shots and has a decent enough damage, like flesh damage, that you can blow off limbs pretty easily. It does pretty decently against Scaz. We're going to be reloading though with BS. BS is kind of like this is almost the best. This is kind of like your best in class besides 7 and 40. And 7 and 40 is kind of like a freak round. It's got kind of a hilariously broken balance of pen and damage, and it also has recoil reduction on it, which it's almost unheard of for a round. It's kind of a god round that it's the only round of its type in this game, and it's also very, very difficult to find. I've got a decent stockpile of it, but you know, just for this, we're not going to kind of we're going to do a little bit of risk analysis, and we're just going to use this to try to make a little bit of money. Let's see if ODV2s have come down in cost. They have not, so we're not going to be spending money on ODV2 because I don't think we're going to be able to make enough money to justify that expense. Insurance, so I'm going to insure everything. Why? Because I have so much money, it kind of doesn't matter. If I get something back, I get something back. If I don't get something back and I kill something, then I can ditch some of this stuff and be able to kind of carry, like, you know, min-max the loot pickup sort of deal. Depends on who you ask. Some people insist that insurance is useless. There's definitely been a fair amount of times that I've gotten stuff back that I wasn't expecting back. Again, you know, if you can afford it and you are in a situation where you think that there's even a chance that you might get something back, you might as well, you know, spend the money. You can always make it back. Unless you're insuring something extraordinarily expensive, for the most part, you're almost always going to be able to just afford the insurance. And if it winds up bringing something back, especially if you're solo, then you just kind of, it's that little shot of like consolation prize almost. And if you're running in a squad, insurance is great. Insurance is fantastic whenever you're running with a squad, especially if you're running with somebody who you know can kind of can get the trade on somebody. You know, Drix and I usually, whenever we play duos, you know, we'll push, or I will try to push, or he'll try to push, and we'll try to, you know, if he dies, or I die, we try to get the trades so that way somebody's making out with something. Otherwise, you know, we're just kind of sitting there with the dicks in our hands going like, whoa, what do we do? But the preference there, so that way your duo partner, your trios or whatever, your team isn't having to carry your ass out and have to lead behind loot, right? Because, you know, they earned the kill. They got the kill. They're entitled to that loot, and, you know, they should try to get something out. And, you know, that kind of sometimes more than makes up for a death in this game. And if you have insurance, that means they can fraud your stuff. You know, obviously, you know, if you've been playing this game for a little bit, you kind of know the limits of insurance. But in terms of what you'll get back any parts, guns, face mask, anything, any of that you'll get back. But you won't get back consumables. So that includes grenades, healing items, you know, barter. I don't think barter items can be insured anymore. anything like bullets. Bullets will not come back for insurance from insurance, and the joke kind of is that Prapor, you know, takes it all. Basically, they find your stuff and they go, oh, free bullets, and they just take it, right? Kind of a shitty not really post-apocalyptic, but shitty war-torn vendors are just yoinking your stuff. And therapists, same thing. You know, if you insure with therapists, you get it back faster, but they end up keeping all your ammo. And that I've always made the joke that those guys are keeping it for themselves or for their own guns, sort of deal. Oh, let's see. I don't think hopefully we get pretty quick matches today. So we weren't able to really play that many yesterday, and that made me kind of sad. Anyway. Come on, game. Yeah, you'll I try not to complain too much about this game. I know there's a lot of people who they get really, I'm not going to say salty. They get really disheartened by the state of this game sometimes. And sometimes I get that. It's because it's sad, right? Because this is a really good game. I already said this in a previous stream, but this is one of the few games where I feel like I can't put it down. Regardless of how bad the state of the game gets, I always feel like I always get that itch to do one more raid sort of deal. Very rarely does that happen a whole lot these days. You know, life gets in the way, and there's just sometimes a lot that happens in day to day, and you know, you get tired, you need to go to the gym, etc., etc. Basically other priorities, but this game, for whatever reason, keeps me coming back. I forgot grenades. God damn it. That's okay. We'll make it do. All right, we spawned over by USEC camp. There's a stash over here. Can hit it real quick. Ergos on this is actually still pretty good. Oh, so something something that you should probably try to do at the beginning of every single raid. A, check your mag, and B, I'll show you here in a second after I loot this. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good cache. Also check this. Press, I believe that the keybind to begin with is B. Check and make sure, you know, it's down there in the corner bottom right. You'll see it. Check and make sure that you're set to full auto, especially if you have a full auto gun and you plan on being in CQB. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I have died because I completely forgot to change my firing mode, and it was still on single fire. In fact, I did it yesterday whenever I was it yesterday? I can't remember, but I did it. It happened a couple days ago whenever I was playing on streets. Let's listen here real quick. Don't hear anything. Let's look across. We don't see anything. Look across here. Nope. Nothing. Let's see what we got. Med tools. Nothing. Oh, there's a morphine. Give me the morphine. Thank you. There's an apple juice. Not a whole lot here. There's shoe sting already. Many shoe stings. If I had to guess, that would probably be Sniper Scab towards probably Sniper Scab Mountain, and then probably people running into some scabs around the mill. Maybe sugar? Who knows? My volume down just a little bit. To me, a tad too loud. We're good. What extracts here? So this one's the outskirts one. So last time we ended up rotating the very, very wrong way and too far over, and then we ended up hitting players. So we are just going to... We're probably going to hit this. We'll hit that weapon part. We'll hit Ruined Village, and then probably just kind of take a meandering way towards Outskirts. / ZB. Did I get the right keys? I did. Did I get money? I do not. Thought I heard something. We're good right now. Let's talk about this. So let's talk about pathing a little bit. There is a common misconception, I think, that you need to use you need to abuse bushes a lot on woods. I have kind of come to the conclusion that that is actually a terrible idea. There's... The way that this game is trending, they've kind of been... We hear something? They've kind of been trending towards making sure that your PMCs are more mobile. Yeah. They've kind of been trending to... Woo! I think there's a PMC. There's a zip. He's up there, I think. That's somewhat of a dangerous play, because I heard the zip, but I never heard a gun go off, so I'm kind of scared that there's a PMC around with something suppressed, but we also didn't hear the muzzle report of the gun itself, so... But this actually sounds like it might be close. Uh-oh. We're gonna wait here for a second because this audio's really bad. I'm gonna try not to talk during this. Something to my right. This is something that I picked up kind of from Landmark, is packing while looting. When you're searching stuff, something you can do is kind of pack. Don't know if it'll be fixed in the future, but at least for now, you can kind of pack and... Bad ammo. That's worth something. You can kind of pack and search at the same time. There's some actions that you do that will kind of tie up your hands, and you're not able to do actions simultaneously like that. I don't think this is intended, I'll be honest with you. I don't necessarily know how much you can rely on it, but while it's still in the game, you might as well use it, right? Good here, pack, especially the big ones. That. Especially usually big 60s. It already takes a long time to load 60s, so you kind of want to load them as you go. I heard a Vepper this way. That kind of sharp crack is a Vepper, I think. That sounds like a Mosin. I'll run this way. Something is getting shoosted this way. Don't see bloodhounds, don't hear bloodhounds. Whoop. He did not calm until the very last second when he shot me. Very scary. PRS. Yes. Drink this. Go this way. Is this looted? Nearly full still. Still probably most of the mag. To my right? That way, maybe? Check the boathouse. In my chest. Oh, hey, look! Something's mad! Why are you so mad? So, interesting thing about scavs, and this is something that I very recently figured out, is if you run across them like this, yeah, like this, they actually can't hit you, and I don't really know why. I'm not sure if maybe that might be a bug in their aiming. Basically, if you don't run kind of like across their field of view like this, can't seem to hit you as much. Oh, unless they do that. I'm gonna get behind something now. There he is. That made me flinch. He shot me in the tummy. I wonder if he killed a player, because I think we heard him shooting the entire time, right? Hello, John Bees. It's you. We're gonna wear these for the drip. See what you got. Yeah, so again, you know, if you run kind of left to right that way. Oh. If you run kind of left to right across their vision, they seem to have a lot more trouble kind of hitting you. I always thought that was kind of interesting, and I don't know if that's intended or not, or if that's such something that like they ever meant for players to actually abuse. But we're gonna use, you know, this game's brutal enough. We're gonna use that to our advantage, right? Food here's been okay. Not terrible. Not terrible, not crazy. Gotta scan this way, because the player that we might run into should be rotating from that way. We might run into a player actually trying to get here. Nothing in there. So kind of an interesting quirk that I've kind of picked up from just watching out of Tarkov is whenever you kind of lean peek everything. A little bit harder to do if you don't bind your peaks to your mouse, but you can kind of swing a door and already be peeking an area. I've kind of tried to get into the habit of doing it so that way it's just one smooth motion. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to forget how to, sometimes I'll just forget to do it, but it's kind of a good habit to get into. Especially in PvP, when you're clearing in CQB, lean peeking like that is kind of a really good way to get eyes on them, especially if it's a right-hand peek, like, you kind of peek this way. I don't believe I've ever been on this rock. Oh, a path. Now we're kind of cutting towards outskirts. We're not 100% full on our bags, but that's okay. We've gotten our kind of warm up in. Gotten into a little bit of fighting with the scabby boys. We'll get out of here with with enough loot to cover our insurance costs probably, and we can move on to something else. Probably not planning on going too terribly long. I did not sleep terribly well last night, and to be honest, my workout kind of wiped me out a little bit faster than I thought it would. Got that sniper rock, so run this way. Oh, that ain't good. That's the airdrop. That's that loud thing that we heard earlier. So, very rarely do I go to airdrops, even on scavs. Scavs, I'll do it. I'm a little bit more willing to do it. If there's an event going on, I'm a little bit more willing to do it. But for the most part, especially on PMCs, I try not to hit airdrops just because most of the time the loot is not worth you crouched down looting a box in the middle of what is likely very, very unideal conditions, to say the least. And it usually, I think they buffed them a little bit just because you have a chance to get like lead axes, good ammo and stuff. There was an event going on as well where you could get a weapon case where you could unseal the weapon case, and it had like basically had like the base gun, all of the parts you would need to kit it out to be a meta gun, as well as like a couple hundred rounds of the meta ammo for it. What was that? To my left. Concerning. Yeah, a couple hundred rounds of the meta ammo. Kind of a good, a good risk for the reward, especially if you're a PvP heavy player and you could kind of win the box. You got, a nice little reward for it, especially if you were able to get out. Of course, you had to get out with it. You couldn't just unseal it inside of the actual raid. I kind of wish they would do more of those events. I thought it was a really, really cool way to encourage PvP on hotspots, especially hotspots that are not normally hotspots. It's an interesting little idea. And you'll hear people who will be salty about it. That's, it's fine. Everybody's allowed to not like things, but especially late in the wipe, it was a nice little way to break up the monotony of 6+ months of the same old thing, Alright, we're near the caches. I think there's something that way. like that. We're gonna hop. Ooh, hose. Thank you. They nerfed loot experience this way. I thought that was always kind of weird. I don't really know. Well, it's not weird. I know why they did it, and at least I suspect I know why they did it. They increased the amount of XP that you get off bosses, as well as it seems like because they increased the amount of scavs on maps, especially streets. You know, if they didn't nerf the loot, it'd get kind of ridiculous. You'd be able to walk out with a whole bunch of loot, whole bunch of scav kills. Ooh, electric motor. Worth some money. With no consequence, right? Which is not... It's not what this game is about. I don't ascribe to the belief that this game... That there are things in this game that are like, quote-unquote, just there to ruin your fun. I've kind of come around to this game that... Okay, we're going to bring that just because it's funny. I've kind of come around on this game that the things like the inertia system, the weight system, the recoil system, the way that you lose stuff in a raid, it's less to do with them just trying to make it not fun. It's that there are actual consequences to your actions. And I find that fascinating. There's a lot of games that they kind of want to... There are those consequences, but they're almost trivial. What I'm thinking of is if you've played an MMO like Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft, the consequences in those games is if you die, you get kind of like... You get like a fail state where you have to redo the fight, or barring that, you lose durability, right? And you have to like use your currency in the game to repair your stuff because you died, right? But that almost feels like a cop-out in a lot of cases, because for 99.9% of players, it's never going to be a problem. It's never really going to be a problem for them to just spend, 20 gil or, Final Fantasy to repair your armor, right? It's just, all it is it's just a gold sink to keep basically the inflation down in the game. That's all it's there for. It's not an actual consequence. It's just a mechanic that they use to reduce the, the money supply in the game. There's a little bit of basic economics at work there. In this game, and this is where I differ from some people, is ostensibly people say that this is a looter shooter, and they go, this is a looter shooter. Why am I being punished for picking up a whole bunch of loot? Punished being like your weight goes up, down here in the lower left corner underneath your guns, and to the left of your health meter is you get punished by being overweight, and you don't move as quickly, your stamina drains faster, in some cases you stop regaining stamina, your inertia is worse, which inertia is kind of like the amount of time it takes for you to start moving as a PMC and to stop moving as PMC. And some people say it's like, oh, it's the realism. I've moved away from that. It's like it's not really about the realism for me. It's almost a balancing thing. And it's kind of ingenious because the more you loot, the heavier you are, the more inertia you generate, the harder it is to control your PMC. But they gave you kind of the tools to fix that problem, to kind of get over that issue, and that's to drop your bag, right? Get more strength to the point where you can almost ignore it, which we'll get to that in a second, or you just straight up, or you deal with it, right? You pop stims, you pop, you deal with it, right? You just fight with at 60 kilos. It's not ideal, but you can do it. I've definitely done it. It's not fun. I would rather drop my bag, but they gave you the tools to fix it. And I feel like a lot of people in this game, they kind of don't see, at least I feel that they're not really looking to solve a problem whenever they just don't want the mechanic to be there, which, you know, there's definitely an argument to be made that it can be kind of detrimental to the new player experience. And especially with the values of strength right now, it's very, very difficult to justify that you can almost ignore the mechanic entirely at max strength. But I've been a believer that I think the mechanics, I think, are valid, and I think that they deserve to be in the game. They just have to kind of balance it and find the middle ground between being completely busted just because you played this game for hundreds of hours more than another person, right? I don't think just because you put more time in the game that you are given a mechanical skill, like an actual mechanics driven advantage, right? You know, Landmark usually has max strength, max endurance at the, you know, 3 months into the wipe. Like that's nasty. Like he's able to jump farther than you, he's able to carry more than you, he's able to huck grenades farther than you, he can hear you from further away. That's a really busted mechanic. But those are things that those are the things that are like, those can be tweaked. Those can be, you know, they can change those values and make it less of an effect on gameplay. I think that's kind of what they should do. Again, you know, I think the mechanics are completely fine to be in there. I just think that if you having max strength, it should maybe give you a small advantage, but not to the point where like, well, he can just straight up carry 30, 40 kilos more than me because he has hundreds of hours on this game. I don't think that's inherently good balancing. I think the design is valid, you know, giving you, again, like you're having to deal with the concept. If you're so overweight that you can't fight, you don't have to be that way. You can drop your bag. You can drop your bag full of loot. I don't think just because you quote unquote wasted a whole bunch of guys and are walking out with, you know, 4 or 5 PMCs worth of loot, or trying to walk out 4 or 5, like that doesn't give you, that really doesn't give you the right to have that loot, right? Like that's it. You have it. Now you need to get out of it. Now you need to get out with it. It isn't just, it's not just there for, you know, just because, right? Or just because you killed the PMCs with it. There's other things on the map that are going to try to kill you. You still have to fight against your time. You still have to fight against your hydration and your energy. You still have to, fight against player scavs that are going to inevitably spawn on the map. You still have, you know, all of these things. You should be challenged to try to constantly solve these problems in this game. The game has given you the tools, or it should give you the tools to try to figure that stuff out. You should try to solve them. And at least with the weight inertia, there are ways to solve them. You know, wear lighter kits. Drop your bag, right? Don't loot as much. I know that kind of sucks. Like, I know that that's probably counterintuitive to the looter shooter genre, but this is also an extraction shooter still. You know, there's still extraction elements. There's still survival elements. There are still, you know, the whole thing with survival games is there are consequences to your actions, and that you have to plan these things out and you have to be thinking about them constantly. That's my take on it anyway. So we're going to try Streets Raid now. I've had some decent luck on this map alone. I've done a couple, you know, before I started streaming, I would dip my toe into this every once in a while and just kind of run the routes that I felt comfortable with. Drix was like, I was asking Drix ideas for what should I try to do tonight? And he goes, Streets PvP. I go, I was like, think about this. I don't want to chase PvP because the whole thing is this is supposed to be somewhat educational. And to be honest, whenever you're a brand new player, you should not chase PvP. Even if you're a COD junkie, and even if you came from BRs where it's action sort of deal, do not recommend that you just go kind of face first into PvP into this game. You should learn the maps. You know, you should learn the maps by just kind of run routes that make sense. And if there's PvP along the way, then you hit the PvP, right? Because first and foremost, you need to learn how to make money, whether that's through raiding and getting out with a full backpack, crafting like I did by playing the economy, scavving a whole bunch at the very least, scavving a whole bunch to make sure that you can continue funding your raids. These are things those are kind of the base skills of Tarkov. It's just like with a survival game, right? Most survival games, the combat's kind of booty. There's been very, very few survival games where I was playing and saying, yeah, the combat's primo. It's not. There's very few survival games that I've really played where I would only play this game if it was an arcade mode. I would with Tarkov, but that's a different story. You have to learn the survival elements. You have to learn how to use resources, how to make resources. Those are kind of the basis for getting your feet into this game and getting your feet underneath you. You know, learning what you are comfortable with, learning to be comfortable with loss, learning when to take fights, when to not take fights, when to fire your gun, when not to fire your gun. These are kind of things that they feel basic, but I feel like they're not touched upon a lot by most of the high-level streamers. They'll just tell you like, oh, this is how you PvP like a Chad. You know, you just W key at them, you throw nades, and you right peek. You know, oh, you want to use M61, M80, BP. Those are things that change depending on the wipe. What doesn't change in a wipe, what doesn't change from wipe to wipe though, is the ability to make money, right? Is being able to identify what is going to make you money that wipe. Being able to identify how guns feel and what kind of guns you like to use. Moving around the map, right? Map knowledge does not, for the most part, map paths do not really change unless they do an expansion to the map. You know, but maps like Customs, right? Customs has not really changed since they did the Customs expansion. So the routes through the map are basically they've been the same for a while, and they may change. You know, they may add another extension to the map. Streets is probably a really good example where you may have to relearn a new route. But again, you know, if you know the old routes and you knew what the map used to be like, you kind of just throw on a little bit of your extra knowledge and you go, okay, there's another zone here that I need to keep in mind that I might spawn at. So that way, you know, I need to kind of keep that in mind whenever I'm moving. But again, you know, that's the stuff that persists from wipe to wipe. Is the real treasure of a wipe, the real valuable things that you can get out of a wipe are knowledge, right? And that's why you just try to play raids, and not just offline raids. You know, offline raids, they're great for, you know, for drilling, right? This is kind of like with you know, I used to do combat. I still kind of do combat sports, but in combat sports, drilling is a really good way to ingrain that muscle memory and to get comfortable doing an action over and over and over again without thinking. But ultimately, when you're in a fight, when you are actually playing the raid, that's kind of what tells you whether or not you were prepared, about whether or not you prepared enough to and it also tests things like your ability to maintain like that drilling that pattern that you've drilled over and over again. Sometimes you have, sometimes you haven't, right? And that's why, again, I've said this before, but that's why it's good to record your gameplay, so that way you can go backwards and see if it's did you learn what you needed to learn? Is there something you could have done better? All right, where are we? Oh, we're by Pig. All right. So I think our path is going to be from here, then we're going to go through Pig. And then we're going to go through Pinewood. Get out through Damaged House. I think that's the plan anyway. We'll see if that actually happens. Like I said, I'm not I do not consider myself I do not consider myself fantastic in this game. I can just consider myself okay. I do okay for myself. A lot of what I pride myself on is being able to make money. DVDs! A lot of my friends don't pick these up. You can turn those... So, DVDs by themselves sell from anywhere 20 to 30K right now. And you can turn them into PCBs. And PCBs are gold. Make you 30, 40K. Not good to be outside here. Somebody's up. We're not gonna loot this. Never mind, we're gonna loot it. The audio in this particular area gets a little wacky. I might not talk as much. Oh god, bad. I'm gonna try to continue vocalizing what I'm doing. It's kind of hard on this map. I just don't know it as well as others. Probably not as well as I know Woods. And again, like, I get kind of this... Jordan would laugh at me, but I get a really weird adrenaline dump whenever I play solo. It's really strange. Because again, I consider myself usually a pretty calm guy. Sometimes this game puts me on edge. Still don't hear anything, which is good. More loots. PK, and then we're gonna drink that milk. I haven't heard any more shooting past that initial bit. Bushes outside. Something outside. I don't believe this is normally open. It's actually kind of scary. Guy just sneak right past me. That way. Not sure. Look to my right. I'm walking. Go under and go under. The fire. Nothing in here. I got kind of freaked out. I had this really, really weird feeling that there's somebody in there with me. Multiples! Hello, scabby boys! He's on the other side of that wall. Check this for med spawns. There ain't shit. It's an Algan. Oh, you shouldn't have. Recons. It should be in here. I think they usually like to stack up in here. Oh, he actually had a whole bunch of stuff. I need to loot him. Oh, hello. Oh, hey, I brought the wrong keys. I suck. That scared the shit out of me. Something flickered. I don't know what that was. Stream still going? I think so. I don't like this. Alright, what do we do, chat? We pack mags while we search. Come here, you little bastard. At some point, we'll probably talk about... I mean, it's kind of weird to talk about what I'm looting. I thought about, like, whether or not I should talk about what I'm looting versus what I'm not looting. You should kind of mostly assume that, you know, unless it's a gun... or ammo, most of what I'm looting is stuff that I want to sell to the traders on Flea. Kill us here, I'm going to die. I don't hear anything right now. Scurry around. Oh boy. Come here. Hey. I don't like that. Yeah, they increased the amount of scavs. So, most recent patch, they increased the amount of scavs that are on streets, and you can kind of tell. It is very, very apparent that they increased the scav count. Which I think is actually kind of, I think it's really cool. A lot of people used to complain about, like, there not being a whole lot of scavs in areas. You know, there's a lot of tasks in this game that will require you to kill scavs, and you always ended up with the problem of like, well, I gotta go kill scavs here, but there's no scavs to kill. You know, it's not. How am I supposed to do this task sort of deal? Well, you know, the answer that they gave was, well, we're gonna give you more scavs. To the point now where I feel like there's, you know, I'm stumbling into them, which maybe, you know, that's how it should feel. There's something in here. Sometimes I feel like, yeah, but people used to always complain about the scavs. So the consequence of them adding more scavs to streets, though, is the performance has kind of degraded a bit. I run a pretty beefy setup, so I don't necessarily have any problems with performance most of the time. Even whenever I stream, I usually do not have that many problems. But I know that there are some people who have had issues, especially I think apparently Ryzen. Anybody using the Ryzen CPUs, especially even the X3Ds, which are kind of unusual. Ryzen X, I think it's like the 7000 X3D series or something, which are kind of supposed to be the kings of, you know, the current kings of gaming performance right now. Even they're having problems. In fact, they're specifically having problems, which is very scary because I was thinking about doing a build with the X3Ds, and I'm kind of glad that I stuck with Intel, even though it's a more expensive build, just because of, you know, I don't have to worry about that problem because they literally with a single patch, a lot of these people who thought that they were getting kind of the best price to perform it, you know, the best performance in gaming, you know, they've lost quite a few frames of performance. Something like, I think some people were reporting anywhere upwards of like 10 to 20 frames of performance. Just a single patch, which is, you know, that sucks, especially with that kind of investment in the hardware. I don't think anybody's in here. I'm gonna check this because there's a couple of PC blocks and stuff. We have sewer? We don't. We do have damaged house. At least I hope that's damaged house. It's evac zone, we're kind of on the wrong side. Damaged house, alright, cool. A big shout out to Drix. He kind of helped play this map with me over a couple times, and I kind of started to learn it a little bit better once I started playing with him. Whoops! That's right, I didn't bring my keys. Thought I heard something. Matches. Garbage. Nothing around here. Well, there was loot to loot here. Yeah, there's a Tarkov. Who's loot? No. Did I hear a door? Am I hearing stuff? Yeah, so we're moving from financial. This is kind of, this is like where the marked room is on the map. Ooh. Maybe we just had a fresh wave of scavs. Then over here. half. 30 rounds left. So kind of like an interesting trick, by the way. Even if you don't want to loot scavs, you should at least go over them and press F to see how much experience you get. First of all, to get search XP, right? That increases your search skill and helps make that search skill better. But also, depending on the I should have pre-fired him. That was scary. I shouldn't have swung. Yeah, he was wanting to peek me, I think. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I should have started pre-firing whenever I started moving left. That's okay. Oh, I killed something. That's neat. Wonder who I killed. Kind of interested. I'm gonna go back in my replay a little bit. I must have killed him through that. I'm gonna pull up. Let's see if we can pull up stream here. We're still going, right? Yeah, we are still going. Oops. Let's see. Uno momento, chatty. There it is. Oops. Let's see. So let's go back over that a little bit. Let's see if I can set this up. Play some music while I do this. A little bit of live editing here. Do display capture. Second. All right. So let's go back a little bit here. So that's where I died. Let me make sure the stream's caught up. All right, sick. All right, let's go back over here. Let's go back a little bit. So obviously I heard him. I think where they were is, I think you can be inside there. I'm not 100% sure. This is where it sucks because I don't 100% know this map still. So I'm pretty sure you can be in there. And they probably heard me. They probably heard me ADSing, running back and forth. That's the first mistake. I either should have figured out if I wanted to commit, or just backed out, right? Which I ended up kind of committing here. As soon as I heard shots, they took a shot at me. Let's see here. I heard them over here. They took a shot at me. I started spraying towards there. I flipped around. I took a hit. Arm went out. I should not have come here. I should have retreated farther back. I think he has some sort of DMR. So what I could have done is I probably should have pre-nated that. Let's playback speed. Let's go. Yeah, I should have. If I was going to disengage, I should have disengaged. I should have hucked a nade in here and then ran back this way. Right? But I kind of wanted the fight. I'll be honest. I kind of wanted the fight. Wasn't expecting shots over here. There's probably a dude over here that I tapped. Yep, there's the other guy there. Right? So I turn around. So, okay. So just a tip. And you'll see a lot of streamers do this and you don't necessarily know why. When you are engaging in a fight or you're trying to disengage from a fight, right? So let's pretend that I wasn't an idiot here and started running back and forth like a moron. I shouldn't have done this. I should have just prepared to fight or commit. So I don't 100% know where they are. They could be farther off that way. And maybe I might be able to cut them off. But I think a guy saw me over here. All right. I think this is where I got a lucky shot on a guy. But, started suppressing that way to get him to duck. This guy peeks, right? He shoots, hits me a couple times. Turn your head. Don't keep firing. Don't like do this commit thing. Like, you can commit to a fight, but mostly you want to make sure that your head is not facing towards where they can click on it, right? What you really want to do is... Oh my god. Let's move at 0.75. Slow down here. Right? So right here. So I swing right to try to get the angle. This guy peeks me. I take a shot. Take 2 shots. I immediately turn my head once I start taking shots to disengage and kind of, not only heal up my chest, but also to kind of reassess the situation. Because now I know that there's at least 2. And I go, shit, there's 2. All right, run back this way. I have a heavy bleed. My chest is taking a couple hits. They're probably using M80s. Pop a calic. Get that heavy bleed stopped because I have time. So this is another thing as well. And you'll see a lot more experienced players do this. As a lot of people freak out, and as soon as they see bleeds, they feel like they have to fix the bleeds immediately. You don't want to fix the bleeds ASAP, right? If I had tried to fix the bleeds there in the middle of my turn and run, I probably actually would have died faster, because sometimes that animation will cancel your movement and it will cause you to move slower. Sometimes it will cause, like, especially if I had tried to heal there, it would have caused me to come out of my sprint, right? Basically, I wouldn't have bought myself this couple of extra seconds. So before you kind of hurriedly start pressing your heal buttons, disengage and get to a safer, get to a spot to where you can kind of have some room to think. All right. So I kind of played that like that right there, except for just not for being here completely. I did what I needed to do. I put suppressing fire towards that guy, probably killed his buddy over there on the left-hand side. He peeked me, took a couple shots at me, hit me in the chest a couple times, right? So this is my second mistake was running to behind this crate. Thinking back on it, I don't think I should have run over to this crate. I should have kept running down here, right? Down the lane. Outside of his field of view, maybe run along this kind of side street, like on the sidewalk here. Let's actually go back a little bit. and check and see if there might have been a clear lane out. Right, so let's go normal speed here. Yeah, so I could have run along this street here and either set up behind this car or set up, you know, over here and like a kind of a weirder angle. You know, instead what happened was, you know, this was probably the correct play. I think this was the correct play, is to pop a propy. This gives you a painkiller effect and a minor and like a kind of like a slow heal. Basically, you know, if you plan on being on a fight for a long period of time, this kind of pays dividends because it gives you the PK effect as well as heals you up a little bit slowly, kind of reduces the effect of any bleeds that you may take on. It makes it a little bit easier to just ignore, like put them on the back burner so that way you can focus on the more immediate things like not trying to die, right? But this was my second mistake here, is I pushed out this way. He has the right hand, so he's going to see me first. Just because of the way that right hand peaks work in this game. I have a left hand, so I'm going to see like a sliver of his head, and what he's going to see of me is probably like my entire, left side of my body. But he pre-fired, so he knows that I'm already over here. So what I should have done is immediately start firing at him as well, swing wide, and then dump into him, because he's at this point, you know, I either hit him in the head or, I either hit him in the head with the amount of bullets that I'm putting down his way, or, I'm going to die because he has this swing on me. But I think he got the swing on me. He also probably was aiming a little bit at my head. Another couple things that I probably could have done here is, I don't believe I had my flashlight turned on. So let's see here. Let's play at normal speed. I should have turned my flashlight on as well. If you're gonna left hand peek, you should at least turn your flashlight on. And the reason being is your flashlight kind of obscures their vision a lot. Makes it so that way it's harder for them to kind of get a target on you, get a beat onto you. And again, just gives you that little bit of extra, chances to fight back. So anyway, but overall, I killed a guy at least. Yeah, I killed a guy. I must have, he's probably very mad at me. That dude's probably very upset that he got done in like that. I wasn't. I said I knew there were at least two, or one, especially once the dude on the left started shooting at me. Just don't know where he might have been. Decent amount of XP, 5.3k. M80, that's what I thought. I'm using tracers for a little bit. Probably top loaded the tracers. Let's heal up. For some reason I cannot see. Why can't I see is there something wrong with the YouTube chat? Kind of weird. I don't know what's going on with that. Let me check. See if maybe the Creator Studio has a... At least it wasn't a swarm of scavs. Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea why you keep running in a swarm of scavs, man. It seems weird to me that you keep running into a ton of scavs. I'm not 100% sure. I think Shadow said something. Maybe there's like a hidden event going on, but the only time I've ever seen scavs swarm like that is if like you're tagged and cursed, or if there's something else that is tagged and cursed near you, or if something's real bad is like a scav boss or something near you. I just saw your message in the Discord that you were getting clapped a bunch. Yeah. It's a rough time, man. Sometimes You just gotta... Sometimes you get clapped. But overall, you know, that's... Sometimes that's how Tarkov goes. Also, that, like, he hit me a couple times, and I feel like I probably could have outshot him, but he hit me... I think he hit me in the head. So, it... Again... This is... It's one of the... you know, we talked about this last night. I'm not, I am... Yeah, that corn saved me a couple times, but... You know... A slick, a hex, that was not going to save me there, right? That was just gonna go... You know, I got hit in the head. Do my John B's too. Sad. All right, let's re-kit back up. What time is it? We're at 9:11. We're gonna do... We'll do one more on streets. And then I'm probably gonna call it. Just because I'm getting kind of tired. Now, what do I... Let's actually bring the right shit this time. All right, let's go through the checklist, right? So let's... We need our keys, right? Ah! Get in there. We need a gun. We're gonna run this nice little RD that I picked up. I'm gonna bother with the nice mags. We're gonna run 3 mags. Bam. Okay, never mind. We're gonna run 4 mags because I have so much BP. All right, we're gonna run all this BP. All right. Oh God. Okay, hold on. I know what the problem is. All my freaking ammo. I'm gonna fix this real quick. So this is a neat little trick, right? And I learned this from watching Dr. Lupo. Is if you have a found in raid item, right, that's stackable, a non-found in raid item that is stackable, right? Usually the same one. You can kind of just restack them, right? Just drop them onto the found in raid stuff or the non-found in raid, so that way it makes them non-found in raid, and you can refill your bullets, your bullet stack, without having to worry about that annoying little quirk. Because especially like this, like sometimes you don't want to do this, depending on if you plan on selling something. Like some ammo you can still sell on Flea, but BP you can't sell on Flea anyway. So you might as well kind of clear it. Yeah. All right. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now watch me do this annoying thing. Ah! Engaging. Truly, this is the content that Tarkov needs. Aha! See? Anyway. What am I doing? That. Do I run this corned? Let's run a little thicker this time. We'll run this defender. Ulak. Oh, wait. I got Momexes. Mumix. Let's get a Salua. Boop. Get a Hemo. An Army Bandage. Alice Splint. Where the fuck is my... Where is it? Am I crazy? I just had it. Am I an idiot? Might be an idiot. Oh God! I noticed it as soon as I clicked buy. I hate it here. On these. Actually, let's shoot this in the hideout real quick because I've actually not run an RD in quite a bit. Oh god. That shoots about the same as I remember it. Okay, cool. Backpack. Affectionately called the cat turd. Boop. Good on hydration. All right, so let's go through the checklist. Keys. We need to make sure we pull out that key. I think I died with it last time. Oh, sorry. Gotta reposition. Let's bring a green flare in case we need to get out that way. Let's bring some cash. Oh, I still have abandoned factory charges too. Maybe we'll do that. That sounds like fun. Listen to the tunes real quick. I am going to go use the bathroom before we get into another raid. Be right back. All right. Okay, let's try this again. Turn this up just a tad for you guys. While I clean this up. Yeah, we're also gonna eventually. I'm gonna try to do some homework and get some more different music into the stream. It kind of sucks because I was mentioning this before, but YouTube doesn't really have the same thing that Twitch does and allows you to restream different audio streams. So that way you can split them up to avoid DMCAs in VOD content. You just you get what you know, because technically the stream turns into a VOD and is always a VOD available because you're streaming to YouTube, a video hosting site. There's not a way to do it as cleanly with YouTube, but thankfully Tetris Effect soundtrack, it is royalty, it's DMCA free, and I believe have issued multiple statements saying they will not DMCA anybody who uses the soundtrack. So I've been basically using this, but I think there's probably some chiptune stuff out there, some OSRS, OC remix stuff that I think would be really cool to listen to while we're kind of chilling out. A little bit of a selfish reason is it allows me to rest my voice a little bit. I'm not really used to talking this much. My job does involve me talking, but I don't normally have to talk for hours on end. Longest usually I interact with people will be 30 minutes, an hour. I've been on calls that are like multiple hours long, but I'm not talking the entire time. So I have to You know, you guys will probably hear me drinking water. I also, I sweat a lot. This is a really weird thing. This is probably really weird and maybe TMI, but who cares? I sweat a lot and I also work out. I try to work out a decent amount, so I have to rehydrate very often. I probably should have gone over my kit. I probably could have done something like that, but that's okay. Maybe that's what we'll do on woods, is that way. That's going to be kind of our kit, because I'm so used to... yeah, I sweat a lot. I hope I don't smell. The people I used to train with at my old combat gym, I did a lot of Muay Thai and kickboxing, and in Muay Thai you do standing clinches where you get very close to somebody. Basically, we call it giving each other, you give each other hugs basically, and then try to knock each other out. But I was told by a lot of my training partners that I did not smell terrible, and I did not smell bad, which I was so thankful for, that I started cleaning up my diet and stuff, because, I don't know how much actual science there is to us. It makes sense in my head. This might be bro science bullshit, but basically, if you eat like trash, you're gonna smell like trash. Especially your sweat, your bodily fluids smell whenever you ingest a lot of oil, sugars, and kind of like things that your body probably doesn't really need. And I don't smell bad. I'm just wet. Okay, I'll take that, I guess. But whenever you smell somebody who smells bad, it may not even necessarily be that they're not showering or they have bad hygiene. Is maybe their diet is bad. And you can kind of tell with certain foods, right? Some like cumin. And this is like part of why Indian food makes you smell pungent, is that like spices like cumin and paprika and I'm blanking on all the curry spices, right? When you sweat, a lot of people exude that through their or through their glands. But anyway, all this to say is I drink, I drink a lot of water to kind of keep my voice rehydrated, and I also like to make sure that I'm staying hydrated, just because I work out and I sweat a lot, right? And the place I live is very humid, it's very hot, and AC only does so much, especially if you have to go outside that day. Yeah, it's kind of one of my, there's a couple of reasons why I don't ever, just talking about the streaming thing a little bit. I don't know if I ever plan on having like a face cam. I was talking with Drix about it, and he was like, well, why don't you ever want to have a chicken and ice cream? Well, oddly enough, you probably actually smell fine then, because especially if you're not eating a whole bunch of ice cream, you probably have a very neutral smell. As long as you wear deodorant, you probably smell completely fine. This is the same spawn we spawned out before. What the hell is this game doing to me? Do you want me to die, game? Anyway, ooh. Hello, nurse. That's shitty. But yeah, you probably actually smell fine then. To be honest with you, is, like I said, most of what will make you smell is like oils, right? Like a lot of fried foods. Ooh. Check that. I hate it here. See, that's what I mean about BP, man. I really don't know if... I don't know. Maybe it's always been like that. But I feel like it is just not hitting as hard as it used to. Maybe I just suck. noises. Yeah, but yeah, you probably smell fine, man. Like I said, as long as you know, especially if you shower often, you eat pretty healthy, you know, lots of fruits. You probably smell fine. Ah. There's another scab outside. Kitty. To my left here. Not sure where everybody is. I'm gonna go on PK. That's in my left ear. It's unsuppressed though. I suck. That's the problem. I suck. I missed so many shots there. My hands are slowing down. Oh, this is a completely empty mag. What am I? He's in here with me. You're downstairs, I think. I don't know where he's at. Audio. I'm kind of confused by the audio. Down there. Oh, he clotheslined me. What happened? M4? Top at Sodi Poppin' TTV. Do I believe you? I don't know if that was very. I don't know. Did he know where I was at? Oh, he is alive. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. He just clotheslined me. I think he just read me he just read the play. Oh, he's a thickie. Huh. Okay, I don't know about that. Did he see where I was?
Come from. He's up there.
Oh. Huh. Did I just get desynced? Huh. Strange. I'm assuming he just read the play. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. Like, I just went and watched the clip back. Like, I don't know if it was legit or not. It seemed kind of. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. We're just gonna. If he's not cheating, then he has nothing to worry about. It was just very strange. I went back and watched the clip from his point of view, and it was kind of strange. He said, like, he was looking down that hallway when I shot, but he wasn't on my, like, on his screen. He had already turned away and moved. But I could have sworn I'd shot at him whenever I saw him there. Right? Yeah, and I don't even think I turned on my flashlight on his screen yet. So I think I'm maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm like, I know that people have said that, like, the lag is definitely like desync. If you have bad ping, you are definitely disadvantaged now. It's not it used to be the opposite before. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, Kova. It's you know, if he has nothing to worry about, then if he's not cheating, then he has nothing to worry about. But it was very, very strange. Like, I went back and watched about 30 seconds before, and he read exactly where I was, but it doesn't make any sense because I didn't have any audio of him. Is kind of the weird thing, is I only knew he was there because I heard like a slight, like, small steps, but it sounded like it was on my floor. At least I thought it was. Maybe I just misread it though. That's okay. Like I said, it was fishy enough that I was gonna. I feel like I should press the button. If he's not cheating, then he has nothing to worry about. But anyway, I think that is all that I'm going to play tonight. I'm gonna go and head off. I hope you guys learned something tonight. We survived 1 out of 3, and the 1 out of 3 I didn't get any PvP in. That kind of sucked because I didn't even get to really fight that guy. So that's one problem with this late in the wipe, is basically it's all head taps. It's all guys running around. I think that guy was wearing like a killa armor and a face shield, you know, with a meta M4 firing 855A1, right? The fight was going to be relatively short regardless. But anyway, I'm going to hop off. Everybody have a good rest of the night, and I will catch you guys later.